What up, y'all? It's your guy Dawson from D&D TV. Thank you for rating, commenting, and subscribing. Everybody who's donated, those of y'all who will, you know I appreciate it. Also, go over to check out my other YouTube channel, Dawson Speak TV. Thank you. Make sure you subscribe over there. Now let's get into this story. The Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office announced Wednesday that they had arrested a local minister on charges of child sex crimes. Deputies said that Philip Jared Buxton, 32 years old, of Boiling Springs, was arrested and charged with 4 counts of criminal sexual conduct with a minor, second degree. An investigation began on January the 30th after Spartanburg County investigators assigned to the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force received 2 cyber tips from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Through their investigations, officials were able to identify and locate their victim. After speaking with the minor, she told them that she was abused by Pastor Buxton beginning when she was 13 years old. Investigators said the young girl told them that the sexual assault began in October 2015 at Pastor Buxton's home in Cherokee County. Deputies say that through their sexual encounters, the girl became pregnant twice. She says she underwent 2 abortions to terminate both pregnancies. According to the incident report, 4 warrants were approved earlier Wednesday for Pastor Buxton's arrest. He was detained at his church, the Cleveland Chapel Baptist Church. Deputies said he gave a full confession, so he confessed to everything. He was transported from his church to Spartanburg County Detention Center. Now, I had a lot of people from South Carolina who told me to get off my pastor. Don't say nothing about the pastors here. You this, you that, all this kind of stuff. And even some hate mail and death threats off the other pastor I talked about, Rashawn L. Wilson, who's also in South Carolina. And then there was a lady who came over to my Facebook saying, don't put all pastors in South Carolina in the same boat and all this kind of stuff. It's not just about pastors in South Carolina. It's about people, whoever they are, around the United States who abuse their power. And when it comes to children, you all know my show. We don't go for that over here. So I'm going to let y'all, first of all, listen to the pastor preach. He has a message for us, and I'll be back with the rest of my commentary.
And at the moment where we realize that we have issues is the very moment that God, in his infinite power, can work in our lives. Can I tell somebody this morning that God can never work in your life if you're not willing to tell the truth about what you're going through in your life? Can I press rewind and play one more time, tell you one more time that God can never work in your life if you're not willing to tell the truth about your life. I came this morning to find about 17 folks, and I'll make 18 who came to testify. I'm willing to tell the truth that every day ain't a good day. I came to tell the truth that every morning that I wake up, I don't wake up with Jesus on my mind. I don't wake up in a bed full of roses. There are moments where I wake up on the wrong side of the bed. I wake up with an attitude. I wake up frustrated and aggravated. And this behooves us to understand that everybody going through something. Everybody going through something. Can I suggest to somebody that you're not the only one who's going through? Let me just go ahead and give you a moment of reality here. There's somebody who has it worse than you.
To hear about it from a church and everything, it's disturbing enough.
New tonight, we're learning more about an upstate pastor charged with criminal sexual conduct with a minor. Our cameras were rolling as Philip Buxton was taken to jail this afternoon. Spartanburg County deputies say Buxton had sex with a 13-year-old girl and got her pregnant twice. Buxton was a star basketball player in Gaffney. He pastored a church in Spartanburg. 7 News' Nicole Smith is joining us now with more on the case. Nicole.
Tom, the sheriff's office says this case started 1 week ago. They say the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force got 2 cyber tips that led investigators to a local church today.
Is it true you had sex with a 13-year-old girl?
Philip Gerard Buxton said nothing as he left the Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office Wednesday. Deputies say he confessed to allegations of criminal sexual conduct with a minor, second degree.
Earlier in the day, deputies picked him up at Cleveland Chapel Baptist Church, where their website shows he's the senior pastor.
Everything is joyous over there all the time.
This time, the church parking lot was empty,
Even on Wednesday nights, the place is packed.
as Bible study was canceled.
It's kind of disturbing, really.
Deputies say a victim told investigators the sexual intercourse between her and Buxson started October 2015 at Buxson's Cherokee County home. She was 13 years old, nearly half Buxson's age at the time.
Child sexual abuse is a far too prevalent problem.
The victim told investigators she and Buxson had sex multiple times throughout Spartanburg County as well. When she was 14, she says she became pregnant twice and had abortions both times.
We know that things like sexual abuse can lead to post-traumatic stress symptoms, but we also know that we have interventions that have been proven to help those symptoms subside.
Past experiences she hopes this victim can get help with. Buxson's past includes state championships with Gaffney High School and about 4 years as pastor at the more than 100-year-old Cleveland Chapel Baptist Church.
Got to be wary of the kids around people nowadays.
And authorities in Cherokee County were also notified about this just in case there should be charges in that jurisdiction as well, Tom.
So potentially more to come in this story then. So, Nikhil, the congregation of his church, did you get a chance to talk to anyone there?
I did this afternoon, Tom. They didn't want to go on camera, but they say that Buxson was, and he is a really good preacher, and they say they're just really hurt by these charges and that they're just asking people to pray for their congregation, Tom.
Okay, a story we will continue to follow. Thank you, Nikhil.
All right, y'all. Now let's go in. Now, first of all, before I begin, let me just say this, that I have prayed and I will continue to pray for the victim and for the members of his church, because I was able to go online, like many of you can go online, to his Facebook page, to the church's website. And you can see that this is from what it looks like, a family-oriented church. And they really loved this man as a pastor. From what I was able to see on his Facebook page, the church's website, from the videos, the Facebook lives and everything they were doing, they loved their pastor. And they still do love him. And they're trying to wrap their mind around these allegations. Well, it's really not allegations now because he did confess to the police. But I want to remind you of something that Pastor Buxson said in his sermon that I showed you all. He said, God can never work in your life if you're not willing to tell the truth about what you're going through in your life. God can never work in your life if you're not willing to tell the truth about what you're going through in your life. And I listened to him say that, and I listened to it a couple of times, and I listened to that sermon, and I was just saying, you know what, it's sad that this man who had an issue with liking an underage girls, because the age of consent in South Carolina is 16 years old, who liked a girl who had an attraction for a 13-year-old girl, couldn't tell the brothers or some of the ministers or his leaders in that church, this is what I'm dealing with. And there are many people, men and women, not only pastors, people in authority, teachers, lots of teachers. We see those stories all the time. People who get in front of the church, people who get in front of businesses and things like that, and they keep up a facade. They're hiding a secret, this deviant behavior, which is what it is. A 13-year-old girl, pregnant twice, had an abortion both times. And this pastor, like many of them all around the United States, not all of them, some, please get that, can get up here and have all of these billboards and all of this fanfare and want to go on Facebook Live and want to preach. But you should have been able to tell somebody in your church or another pastor or go to a psychiatrist, because he did get a degree in psychology. You should have been able to go to someone and said, this is what I'm dealing with. There are countless of stories that I tell you all I don't get to about people who are molesting these children in the churches, and nothing is being done. It's being swept under the rug by people in leadership, by people in the church. And people look at my show and they like, oh, well, why people like Dawson, all this kind of stuff? Because people who are victims, they need a voice too. It ain't going to just be about you, pastor, first lady, teachers, whoever's in authority that think you can abuse people around you and use them for your sexual gratification. It's not just about you. It is time that not only in Scientology, not only with the women, the Me Too movement, not only with this surviving R. Kelly thing, it is time for victims in the church to stand up and say, hell no, we not taking it no more. And we not going to go to hell for telling you so. I don't care who it is. Hell no, we not taking it no more. And we not going to hell for telling you so. Hell no. Now get mad if you want to. Everybody who say, Dawson, won't you say something good about the pastors? Won't you say something good about this? If it came to your mind, then that's what you need to do. I didn't go to nobody's YouTube channel and go to no news station and say, put me on. I heard the call and I started doing what God told me to do, and y'all came. Quit telling people to do what you want them to do. Start it yourself. Now look here. I have worked with Department of Children and Family before in the past. And I know there are a lot of children who have gone through sexual molestation. They've gone through rape. They've gone through so many things. And you all don't know that these children grow up. As I tell you time and time again, these little boys grow up. These little girls grow up. And no one ever deals with the trauma that they went through as children. And many times they begin to act this stuff out in their lives. Just this past Sunday, I don't know why, this probably had to be God. I was listening to my old church, and there was a minister who was talking about how he was molested by a lady when he was in middle school. She was in her 30s, he was in middle school. And how all through his teenage years and his young adult years, he was a musician in the church. And while he was in there beating the drums, he's thinking about the sexual act that this woman who was supposed to protect him, she used her position of power to prey, P-R-E-Y, on this young boy to sexually assault him. And he said all through his life, he dealt with that, and it took him down on a whole range of roads in life. And when I touch on issues like this, when I talk about the young boys who were molested by Bishop Eddie Long, people tell me to shut up. Oh, don't worry about it. Look at Jamal Bryant Church now. The church is growing. I don't give a damn what's happening with the church. The church was growing when Eddie Long was alive, but them boys were still raped. You looking at the numbers. Where's the power? You looking at how everything looks, and oh, it looks good on the outside, but you don't know what's going on in their life. I look at this pastor here. They had all the fanfare, all of the postcards and the e-blasts. Oh, come to our church, revival here. This, right, all of this stuff that these people do, we see it every day on social media. We saw it with Pastor Rashawn Wilson. All of these fancy flyers and all this stuff, they also dressed up on the flyers, and prophetess and evangelist and apostle and superintendent and first lady. But it becomes real first lady when you know you're not the only lady. There's a second lady, a third lady, a fourth lady, and sometimes a fifth gentleman. You know Dawson preaching up in here. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. These people will go on the evangelistic, go out and evangelize in this city, in that city. Why don't you take your wife with you every time you go, buddy? Oh, she got to stay home and take care of the kids. No, there are some preachers who work it around on the weekend so they could take their kids with them, or their wife can go with them. Every time you go on the out to evangelize, you go by yourself. Your wife don't never show up. You from Atlanta? You from South Carolina? You from the East Coast? And every time you go on the West Coast, you got to go by yourself. Why you can't take your wife with you, buddy? Why you can't take your husband with you? And for those of you who are ministering and you're single and you know that you have the proclivities of being a whore everywhere you go, why you can't take somebody with you that can hold you accountable? Who can you talk to say, look, I know, you're not busy on this weekend. They want me to come preach at this church, or they want me to play over here. And I know I have weakness. Maybe I didn't share that with you, but I need you to go with me, because if you there, I know I'm not going to get in trouble. If you there, I know I'm not going to be a hoe. If you there, I know I'm not going to do what I usually do when I go by myself. Come on, y'all. Dawson going to be real with you. Who are your friends? Who in ministry do you talk to? Teachers. messing around with these students. What's wrong with y'all? Y'all went to college to get a degree. You minister. Some of you went to seminary and all this stuff. You finna mess up your livelihood over this? Come on, buddy. It's got to be somebody you could talk to. Somebody who's not going to judge you. And it may not be a person in your church. It may not be somebody in your state. And I'm finna really knock y'all out with this one. It may not be somebody who's so-called a Christian or saved. It may be somebody who everybody say, oh, well, you know, they can't tell you because they don't go to church. They don't go to church. I wouldn't listen to them. No, I listen to them probably before I listen to some of these people in the church, because you see the story I'm doing now. And this was a pastor who confessed to it. Y'all better wake up. I appreciate all of the people who say, Dawson, I thank you for your platform. We didn't start out like this. I don't know how my show got like this. I just got tired of being a social worker and see people coming in our office and then hearing they go to church and thinking to myself, where's the power that was supposed to rectify the issues in your life? What's your pastor preaching, girl? What they talking about? All they having is praise breaks. All they having is praise breaks. Nobody's having a think break. Nobody's sitting down thinking about their lives, thinking about what they gonna do. Got to get this mess together. It is sad that this man who preaches good, I've listened to him preach, go on his website, see him preach. And if I'm not mistaken, they said he married a lady named Dawn. If I'm not mistaken, that's who he's a married man. I don't know if they're still together, but I saw that on the internet as well. Y'all, it's time to be real. For some of y'all preaching and getting in these positions of power, honestly, be honest with yourself. It's about your ego. You weren't called. You just went. And not saying that people don't deal with issues and don't deal with struggles. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying for some of y'all, when you know it's something that you need help on, you better go talk to somebody. You better look at somebody on the internet or whoever that you can see them talking about sex addictions, that you can see them talking about drug addictions, that you can see them talk about dealing with depression, spirit of suicide, all of this stuff. You better find help. I don't care. You can Google everything else. Get on YouTube and Google that. Tons of people on here talking about overcoming sexual addiction. Tons of people who talk about the infidelity that they overcame in their relationship, thoughts of suicide, depression, mental illness. Come on now. There are tons of women who started ministries after their husbands have cheated on them with a man or with a woman. There's tons of women out there. Y'all laugh and pick at it, but women going through this, men going through this. Tons of women who say that I was married, I was committed in my relationship, but he brought me back HIV. He brought me back herpes. I'm not going to sit here and be bitter, but I'm going to turn this madness, this mess into a ministry. Don't sit here and act like you can't Google this stuff and find the help you need. It ain't just Dawson talking about this. We have been naive to the truth because we've been told Jesus coming down in a spaceship and take us out of here and all our problems going to be walked away and we ain't going to have to do nothing. But I came to tell you that if anything's going to change in this earth, you are going to be the arms, the legs, the feet of God, the eyes of God. Where's your power? Where's your dominion to take authority? We've been taught, oh, Jesus gonna do it. Jesus gonna fix it. Oh, just sit here and wait. Oh, just sit here and wait. It didn't work for the man who lay beside the pool of Bethesda. It didn't work for the woman who had the issue of blood. Come on, make the scriptures work for you. They had to do something. Now, I'm just really upset about this whole situation. And I'm really upset about the emails and the mail I get, people telling me stuff and all this kind of stuff. But why y'all didn't go tell the victim that? Why nobody in his church couldn't see this, but y'all will come over and tell me stuff? And for you all who have this whole thing of dating younger, not really dating younger, but doing stuff like this pastor did. This is right now that I'm showing you. This is the age of consent in the United States. Now, some of these states I think is just too low. 16 in South Carolina and North Carolina, y'all got to do better than that. I know in Florida it's 18. But for those of you all who find yourself always in situations like this, look at the age of consent. Go to that website. Look at it. Because it's not only men, it's women who falling in it too. And like I said, especially teachers, it's like every time you turn around, it's another teacher, male and female. Why did y'all get in the field? Like, come on, man. No, I'm off of this topic. I'm getting worked up over it. But I also want to say this too. Now, we all know that there are a lot of people who are on dating sites and these dating apps and all this kind of stuff. And like when we were in high school and all that kind of stuff, we knew that there were young girls and young boys who dated older, and we thought that was so disgusting that she only 16, she's only 17, and you dating somebody in their 20s and your mama know about it and allowing that. We thought that was sick. We thought it was sick when the young boy told us he was only 16 or 17, but he was dating somebody in their 20s, and we thought that was disgusting when we were in high school. But a lot of times those children, parents, and people, they turned their eye to that. And just how it was when we were in school, there are kids like that, and we know kids are fast. They children, they teenagers. So when you all are on these dating sites and dating apps, it's up to you to know who you getting involved with. If you're not intentionally going out there to do what this pastor did, because he intentionally went looking for an underage girl. But just like you're on these dating sites, you need to drill these people with identification. And if it looks weird when you meet them or whatever, or when you see the pictures, then it's up to you as the adult to say, look, I don't play games like that. You need to get off of here. You need to do this. This is an adult dating site. This is Plenty of Fish for Adults, or wherever y'all go, Christian mingle. Because sometimes these teenagers, they'll get on this stuff. And it's up to you all as adults to know the age of consent in your state. You can't be naive to it. Don't say Dawson don't tell you nothing. There you go right there. It's up to you to know that. Because the cops gonna look at you as the adult. It's your responsibility to know that. Now y'all go off in the comments. Go off on me. Do whatever you want. It ain't gonna change nothing over here. Now the pastor is going to get everything that's coming to him, rightfully so. And I hope this little girl, she can get over the trauma that she has experienced by this. Because when he was in his late 20s, around the time when this all happened, he was supposed to protect her, not be sleeping with her. And that vice versa if it was a female. Take care of yourself and each other. It's your boy Dawson. Go off in the comments. Peace.